Hey there, it's Jamie Anderson, and today I am teaching a live lesson on finger picking. So I'm going to do a little bit of finger picking here while I'm waiting for everybody to come in. Please check in using the comments. I love to see where everyone is from. Usually my lessons gather people from all over the world, which is really cool. It's one of the things I love about teaching on YouTube. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you 4 different finger picking patterns. I'll show you far away like this, and then I'm going to scoot up a little closer so you can get a better look at my right hand and what it's doing. I'll show you different ways to finger pick with your bare fingers, with picks. I've got this new pick, which is really cool. It's from Black Mountain Picks. It's kind of like a flat pick with a little strap on it. So I'll be showing you how to use that. And in addition to the different finger picking patterns, I'll be showing you some songs to plug that into. The second half of the lesson, I'll be answering your questions. And I know some of you have questions already, and that's great. But if you could wait until I have some time, because I'm teaching. Also because I'm doing this on my phone, which is way across the room and I can't see a darn thing, you know, when you have eyesight like mine. But I will take breaks, and I've got another device here with me, and I'll check out your questions and answer when I can. I do want to let you know that teaching music is what I do for a living. So if you'd like to donate a little bit to help me out, I've included my PayPal me address. And also you can buy me a coffee if you want, so there's a link for that. But if you're out of work or if you're on a limited income, no need to pay me. I'm just glad that you're here to learn finger picking. I do have a handout for this, and I will put a link to the handout underneath this video after it's posted. So that's after I teach the live lesson. But if you can't wait, I do have a link at the community section of my YouTube channel. So check that out. And so again, check in if you can, and I will answer your questions after I teach a little bit here. So there will be a video that'll stay posted after the lesson. So in case you missed the live part of it, you can still go back and rewind and play what you need. Rewind. That's how you can tell I'm older. All right, so let's get right to it. And like I said earlier, I'm going to show you how the finger picking looks from far away, and then I'll get a little closer so that you can see what my right hand is doing. So the first finger picking pattern that I'm going to show you is 1 in 4/4. Oh, before I teach you the patterns, I almost forgot. I want to show you several different methods of finger picking, several different techniques, because there's lots of ways to finger pick. And a lot of my students want to know what is the best way. And there really isn't a best way. It's really a matter of taste, preference. What kind of sound do you like? Now, for most of this lesson, I'm going to show you picking with my bare fingers, which is what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing is I'm using the side of my thumb here, and then the pads of my fingers, but kind of the side of my pads. Not exactly the side of my finger, but more on the other side of center. Did that make sense? And you don't dig in too deep. And again, I'll show you the patterns in just a few minutes. I just want to show you some of the ways that you can finger pick. Another way to finger pick is to use your nails. I can't show you that in detail because look at these nails. I have very short nails, so that's not a technique that I can use myself. However, it is a similar technique to doing it with your bare fingers. It's just that you're going to grab your nail. See, I can't even do it fast. But a lot of really great fingerstyle players use their fingernails. The other thing I want to show you is how to use the Black Mountain pick. These things are pretty cool. Here's what it looks like. It's like a flat pick with a little strap on the back. And some people like to finger pick emphasizing the tonic of the chord, which is the bass. So like I'm on a G chord, the tonic is the top string. And when you get a stronger tonic, it can give you a stronger sounding chord. All right? And the other cool thing about these picks is that because it's also a flat pick, kind of a little side note here, you can put your index finger on the other side, strum with them too, so that's cool. You can also use the Black Mountain pick in conjunction with standard finger picks. So I'm going to put on my standard finger picks. These can be purchased at any music site or any music store. I like plastic ones. So that's what they look like on my fingers. Here's the side. They make metal ones too, but I don't like those quite so much. So it's the same technique as finger picking with my bare fingers. And then there's also a standard thumb pick that you can use. And this is a standard thumb pick. Here's how it fits. I like thumb picks because it gives a sharper, clearer sound. But it's perfectly fine to finger pick with your bare fingers. So that's what I'm going to do for a lot of this lesson. So now let's get to the patterns, because I know that's why you're all here. And once again, I know that you all have questions. It's just that the writing is so tiny on the device that I'm using, I can't read it while I'm teaching. But I'll take a couple of breaks and read your comments and questions and get back to you that way. So the first pattern I'm going to show you from far away is bass 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to use my thumb for the bass note, which for the G chord is the top string. I'm going to use my index finger for the third string from the bottom, my middle finger for the second string for the bottom, and my third finger for that bottom string. So I'm going to stay consistent in my finger picking patterns with that, so that my thumb is always hitting the bass note, which is the 6th, 5th, or 4th string, depending on the chord. My index finger is always for the third string from the bottom. My next finger, middle finger, is always for the second string from the bottom. And my third finger is always for the bottom string. So I'll call out the numbers of the strings as I play this finger picking pattern. And in just a minute, I'll give you a close-up of my right hand. But for right now, I'm just going to show you from farther away and describe what I'm doing. So it's bass, 3, 2, 1. Bass, 3, 2, 1. So do that with me if you want. I'm on a G chord. So practice it slowly. Try to be nice and even. If you're feeling a little more comfortable, speed it up. You don't have to dig in too deep. In fact, it's a bad idea if you dig your fingers in too deep. It'll be awkward and you'll have an uneven picking pattern. If you do that sequence 2 times through, that's one measure. So here's one measure. For those of you who prefer a rhythm count, here's how you count it rhythmically. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Once you get comfortable with that picking pattern, then you can change chords back and forth. So I'm going to do G and C back and forth. I'll play it a little on the slow side, see if you can play it with me. So G, I'm doing a full measure, and then C. Bass note for the C is the 5th string. G, C, and G, and C. All right, so that's the first picking pattern. It works great for anything in 4/4 songs like Blowing in the Wind. I've got a bunch of suggestions here. Leaving on a Jet Plane. It works great for songs like that you want sort of a mellow sound. The other finger picking pattern I'm going to teach you is this one, and this is called a Travis pick. So the Travis pick is more about the timing than it is about the exact strings. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Let me slow it down a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm plucking the bass note, and I'm on a G, and the second string together. So that's my first beat, okay? And then I'm plucking 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3. And again, bass and 2 at the same time. Then 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3. So if you speed it up. So on the Travis pick, you may hear me pluck slightly different strings each time, but again, it's all about the timing. Here's the timing. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right. So don't worry if you're not getting all of this. The video will be up after the live lesson, and you can play that as many times as you need to. I also have separate lesson videos on some of the things that I'm teaching today. I have a separate lesson video on Travis picking. So you can go up to my Travis picking video and learn to your heart's content. Travis picking is used in songs like The Boxer and Landslide. You've heard it a bunch of times. Dust in the Wind is a Travis pick. Blackbird uses a Travis pick. So let me show you another picking pattern. And I know I'm kind of far away for some of your devices, but I will be scooting up a little closer so you can get a close-up of my right hand. Also, I know that all of you are posting comments and questions, which I really appreciate, but I can't read them all from this far away. Once I take a break, I'll pick up another device and I'll read your questions and answer them live on the air. So the next picking pattern that I want to teach you is another one that's good for 4/4. And so this one is bass 3 2 3 1 3 2 3. Okay, let me try that again. Bass 3 2 3 1 3 2 3. So sped up, it's. So I know that's fast, but it's like learning a strum. It's like learning chords. If you practice it over and over again, you'll get it. And also practice it as slowly as you need to. I do have a handout with all of these picking patterns on it. And if you don't have it yet, look at the video after the live lesson. I'll be posting a link to where you can get the handout. So the last finger picking pattern that I want to show you is one that's really great for 3/4 time, 3/4 time. So that means 3 beats per measure. Again, I'm going to show you on a G chord, and it's bass 3 2 1 2 3. Bass 3 2 1 2 3. Bass 3 2 1 2 3. Can you play that with me? Let's try it again. Ready, and bass 3 2 1 2 3. Bass 3 2 1 2 3. So sped up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Once you get more comfortable with it, again, choose another chord that you can play back and forth with it. So I'm going to do G and C. The bass note for a C chord is the 5th string. So here we go. One measure each. G, C, G, C, all right, so let me get a drink of water, and I'm going to scoot up a little closer so that you can see my right hand. And I don't have any fancy equipment here, so I'm just going to scoot up closer to you. And then adjust my device here so that you can see my fingers a little better. There we go. All right. So that first picking pattern that I showed you, and I'm going to do it on a G chord, is bass 3 2 1. So I'm back to that first picking pattern. I'm just using my bare fingers. So see if you can do that with me on a G chord. Bass 3 2 1. Bass 3 2 1. If I was going to use picks on this, I could pick up the Black Mountain pick, and it'll give me a stronger bass note, which is kind of cool if you like that sound. Or I could use all of my picks. And again, you don't have to use picks when you finger pick. This is just another choice, another way of playing the guitar. More often than not, I use my bare fingers when I'm just playing casually, but I use finger picks in concert because in concert I feel like that it gives me better volume when I'm trying to reach people. So if I used all my finger picks, of course it's kind of hard to see what my fingers are doing. I'll turn slightly to the side. Okay, so that's the first finger picking pattern. So I'm going to go back to picking with my bare fingers. So then I showed you the Travis pick. I'm on a G chord. So it is the bass note and 2, then 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3. So sped up is. So I might be hitting slightly different strings, but you should be able to hear that familiar rhythm. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Then I showed you another finger picking pattern in 4/4, and that one looks like this: bass 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. These are all a half a beat for those of you who know a little bit about music theory. So it's bass 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. Bass 3, 2, 3, 1. Whoops, I screwed that up. Bass 3, 2, 3. 1, 3, 2, 3. It's one of those things that when I break it down, if I overthink it, then it makes it more challenging. So here we go. Sped up. All right. So I have a separate video for that one. I think I call it 4/4 picking pattern intermediate, something like that. And again, I hope to be able to put the links to all these different videos underneath the video of this once I post it. And then the other one I showed you was 3/4 time. And that is bass, and I'm on a G. Bass 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bass 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. So counting it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and I didn't mean to pause there. 1 and 2 and 3, and so you want it nice and even. And if that's too fast, slow it way, way down. Better to play it accurately slow than speed it up and have it sound crummy. And the more comfortable you get with it, then you'll be able to speed it up. All right, so I'm going to scoot back a little bit and pick up my other device here because I know that you all have some questions. And I want to be sure that, whoa, there's a view of the side of my room. There we go. Cuts off the top of my head. Maybe I'll scoot back a little bit. So let me grab my tablet and I'll answer your questions live. I will be reviewing all those picking patterns, so no worries about that. And then, like I said, I also have lots of lesson videos, some of them focusing on those picking patterns that I have just showed you. So let me see what your questions are. Oh, Kai Miller from Germany. That's wonderful. Rio, Brazil. Oh, I've always wanted to visit Brazil. I've always wanted to visit Germany. I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to travel outside of North America, but I haven't done too much of that. Madison, Wisconsin, your funny texts from Instagram. Yes, Micah, I do know about your funny texts. Hi, Bruce, the one-man band says hello. Dario, how do I learn to play melodies? Oh my gosh, I've got an ad here. Hang on a second. Okay, suddenly my comments are cut off. Well, that's a pain in the wazoo. Okay, let's try that again. Shoot, it's not letting me read my comments. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So, Daria wants to learn how to play melody scales, tablature, or reading music. That's a lot, Daria. Tablature, I do briefly touch on in a couple of videos, but it's not something that I've taught yet. Maybe that's something that I can show you in a future video. Learning to read music is a little more involved. I highly recommend using a book for that. I like the Hal Leonard series. I think it's just called Learning Guitar or Playing Guitar. And it'll take you just step by step, like you'll learn 2 notes on one string and then 2 notes on another string. It's a really great great program. Benji says, thanks for the lesson. You're welcome, Benji. I appreciate that. And Bert and Ernie wants to hear a little Steppenwolf. Yeah, sure. Bert and Ernie, one of my regulars, funning with me. Anne says, hi from the Netherlands. Hi, Anne. Really great to hear from you. Does Jolene use Travis picking? You know, Micah, I'm not sure. I teach Jolene in a lesson video, but for that I used a boom chuck strum. I'm going to have to listen to that because that might be a Travis pick. Swapni says, hello from India. Hi. Gary says, can you use all the chords with those picking patterns? You can. You can use any chord with any of those picking patterns that I showed you. Can you play Travis pattern up close really slow? Well, I did just play it up close. Maybe you posted this comment before I did that. I'll try to do it again. But if you want a much more in-depth examination of the Travis pick, look for my Travis picking tutorial, which is on my channel. And Colleen says she loves the Travis pattern. Thank you. That's a really popular one because I think because you hear it in so many songs and it's very rhythmic. Hey Jamie, it's Jean. I do finger picking with plastic finger picks, but I always had a lot of ringing whenever I use them. How do you compensate for that? Use metal ones instead? You know, I'm not a fan of metal finger picks, and I think it's because I never learned to use them properly. And I'm not sure what you mean by ringing. I kind of like the sustained note that I get with finger picks. If you want a more subtle sound, try picking without finger picks. That'll give you less of a sustain, if that's what you're talking about. David from Ann Arbor, use of minor chords to change tone, finger picking style. I'm not sure what you mean by changing tone. I mean, the bass note does change. Maybe that's what you're talking about. And if you want to know how to find the bass note in a chord, I have a lesson video about that too. And I forget what I called it, but after I post the video, I'll see if I can find the link and put it underneath the video of this live lesson. Is Travis picking always 4/4? Yes, it is. So the count is always 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Can you play it in 3/4? I can't. Sorry. Chris in England. Bruce, I've seen guitars where finger picks with the curve of the point pointing down. There is another style of finger pick called an Alaska pick, and maybe that's what you're thinking of. But finger picks should be worn with the curve around your finger. I don't know if you can see that. See how the curve fits around my finger so that you're hitting this part with the string. So you don't want to play, this is wrong. Now, it could be that some people who use the other style picks do pick that way. That's not how I learned it. And a tip about using finger picks, if you want to learn finger picks and become more comfortable with them, just wear them around the house. That's how I learned how to be more comfortable with them. And again, you don't have to use them. It's just another cool thing. Best chord progressions to practice. There's so many chord progressions. In a minute, I will show you some songs that fit with the finger picking patterns that I just gave you, and that would be some good chord progressions to try out. Kenneth says, I'm a strummer. Thank you for the lesson. I'm learning to play Leaving on a Jet Plane. Awesome finger picking. You can finger pick Leaving on a Jet Plane. And maybe I'll show you that in a minute. And in fact, I have a video about that, so you can check that out too, Leaving on a Jet Plane, on my channel. I've got a video where I teach you to strum it and another one where I teach you to finger pick it. David is wondering about darken the tone doing covers or original tunes. I'm not sure what you mean by darken the tone. I think without finger picks, you do get a more deeper kind of full sound, if that's what you're talking about. Finger picks give a sharper, clearer sound, in my opinion, but it's kind of like asking someone their favorite color. It just depends on, what your taste is. What's going on with your finger picking nails? I don't pick with my fingernails, so I keep my the nails on this hand really short, because if I want more sound, I put on finger picks. I did try to grow out my nails at one point to learn how to use my nails, and it was an extreme failure. So I do know that people who use their fingernails to finger pick really baby them. You know, they have special polish, and some of them use fake fingernails and all kinds of stuff. And that sounded like way too much work to me. Briefly, I just want to show you that you can also finger pick on a ukulele. If there's any ukulele players out there, like that first finger picking pattern that I showed you, only instead of bass, you're playing the top string. 4, 3, 2, 1. So ukuleles are very cool to finger pick. Also, you can finger pick dulcimers, banjos. In fact, bluegrass banjo is all finger picking. So there's all of that. So I promised some examples of some of these songs you can play. And I'm going to show you an example using standard finger picks. So I'm going to put my regular picks on, and I'll show them to you like I did at the beginning here. So there's the standard thumb pick. That's how it fits on. And here are the finger picks. That first finger picking pattern, bass 3, 2, 1, works really great for leaving on a jet plane. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye. And here's what it would sound like without picks. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. So you can hear the difference between bare fingers and finger picks. Again, one isn't better than the other, it's just what kind of sound you want. For the Travis pick, I am just a poor boy, all my stories seldom told. I have pondered mine, whatever the words of that are. I don't know the chords. Anyway, I was trying to do the boxer. I am just a poor boy, though my stories seldom told. So that's a Travis pick. There's also a Travis pick in Dust in the Wind. A lot of things that Gordon Lightfoot does is a Travis pick. You hear Travis picking in a lot of folk songs. The other one that I showed you in 4/4, and I have a whole video on this if you want to dive into it a little deeper. So that one's good for almost anything in 4/4. You could do Blowing in the Wind. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? And then the finger picking pattern that's in 3/4 time, which is this one, bass 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, works great for Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. And I have a video that teaches you how to play Amazing Grace finger picked. I think I do it in a different key, but all the same, you can use that finger picking pattern. It's also great for Hallelujah. Now, Hallelujah is really in 6/8 or 12/8, depending on how you look at it. But this finger picking pattern works really great for that song. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? See how nicely that works? If you want to learn how to play Hallelujah, I recently posted a lesson video on how to play that beautiful song, and that finger picking pattern works really well for that. So I'm going to grab my tablet and answer a few more of your questions because I can see them scrolling by on my screen right now, but it's too small for me to see. So, hey, Jean, thanks for your answer. Happy Labor Day from New Jersey. Thank you, Jean. I appreciate that. Micah wants to know about House of the Rising Sun. It's in 3/4 time. Yes, it is. My memory is terrible for chords, so let's see if I can remember the chords to that one. There is a house. What is the chord? There we go. There is a house in New Orleans. Wrong chords, but you get the idea. There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun. So yes, that's in 3/4 time. So 3/4 time means that there's 3 beats per measure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you want to know a little more about 3/4 time versus 4/4 time, I had a video about that too. And you clap out the rhythm and it'll give you a better understanding of the different time signatures. So let's see what other questions you might have for me. Amazing Grace. Oh, Sanjavi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry. Yes, Amazing Grace sounds really good finger-picked, that 3/4 time finger-picking pattern that I just gave you. So earlier I mentioned that you can also finger-pick on a ukulele, and some of the same patterns work. So that 3/4 finger-picking pattern also works on the ukulele. You speed it up, it sounds really nice. By the way, I highly recommend the ukulele. If you already play the guitar, the ukulele is a lot easier and it's more portable. There's only 4 strings and you can carry them on planes. Not that a lot of us are flying these days, but you can carry them on planes. And you don't have to pay very much for them. You can get a pretty decent ukulele for like $50. At least you can in the US or Canada. So let me get back to some of your questions and comments. I put a link to PayPal me and also to Ko-fi.com in case you want to throw a little money my way. Teaching music is what I do for a living, and your contributions really help me to continue doing that. But if you've recently lost your job or if you got a big family or any other concerns, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay for this lesson. I just want to put that out there in case you've got a little extra. And if Bill Gates or Melinda Gates happens to be watching, you can spare a few thousand for me, right? Yeah, okay. I'm also open for super chat should you decide to do that. And I usually get at least a couple of super chats for each live lesson that I do. No pressure or anything. Anyway, Raymond says hi from Scotland. Hey, Raymond. Hi. I have always wanted to visit Scotland. I know I say that about every country, but it's true. My ancestors are Scottish, so I kind of have this dream of finding some of my ancestors. Manoj wants to know, can you play Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton? It's a wonderful song. It is a wonderful song, but you've already seen me mess up House of the Rising Sun. Unless I have the words and the chords in front of me, I can't play it. I can play that Clapton song with the music in front of me, and maybe that would be a good lesson video. Which leads me to say that if there is something that you'd like me to teach that you don't already see at my channel, then give me that suggestion. Put it in the comments below or put it in the comments right now, and I'll see if I can get to it. A lot of the lesson videos I do are suggestions from all of you. So, because, if I was just up here teaching stuff I wanted to play, it would be a pretty boring lesson channel. But if I respond to you and teach the songs you want, it makes it a lot more fun for you, right? All right. So Stuart says, it took some time from when we last met, but I can actually do some things in a simple 3/4 time. Thanks. Well, thank you, Stuart. Stuart was one of my in-person students back in the day, and he was convinced that he was too rhythmically challenged to play. And Now he's finger picking in 3/4 time. It's all about the practice, folks. I tell some people that and they're like, oh, sure. But it is. If you maintain a good attitude and if you practice regularly, and when I mean practice regularly, I don't mean hours a day. I mean, 15 minutes, half hour's better, and you continue to have a good attitude about it, you'll learn. I see that with all of my students, and I've been teaching for 20 years, and I know everything. So there you go. Well, I'm glad that you're still playing, Stuart. David, can you do log driver's waltz? I don't know that one. I'm sorry. I could learn it, but I don't know it right now. All natural music fan, could you go over which fingers should be plucking which strings? Thank you for the lesson. Yes, I can. So let me review that. Now, other people have other methods for finger picking. This is the one that I use, and this is the one that a lot of classical players use. So I figured they must know what they're doing, right? So I'll demonstrate on a G chord. So my thumb hits the bass notes. So depending on the chord, that would be 6, 5, or 4. My index finger is the 3rd string from the bottom. My middle finger hits the 2nd string from the bottom, and my 3rd finger is the bottom string. My baby finger does not participate in this endeavor. So for that first picking pattern, I'm using my thumb, index, middle, 3rd. Thumb, index, middle, 3rd. So let me get a little closer to the screen. We're so technologically advanced here. Getting closer to the screen means scooting my chair up. So I'll show you that pattern again. I'm on a G chord, so thumb, index, middle, 3rd. So I'm going to switch to a C chord. Now on the C chord, the bass note is the 5th string. So it's 5, 3, 2, 1. So that's the pattern. And here's the fingers that I'm using. Thumb, index, middle, 3rd. Thumb, index, middle, 3rd. So even playing other picking patterns, I still use the same fingers. So if I was going to do Travis picking, I'm still using the same fingers. They're just a little scrambled. So if I was going to do the 3/4 time, it would be bass. I'll do it on a C chord. So the bass would be the 5th string. Bass, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. So you see I'm using those same fingers. So if your finger picking doesn't sound quite like that, have no fear. Just play it as slowly as you need to. Don't dig in too deep. All right. Just hit the wrong note there. Did you notice that? So let me scoot back a little bit here. And gosh, my little stand is not working the way it should. Stop that. Okay, so let me scoot back a little bit and look at some more of your questions because I saw some more fly across the screen. Can you do a lesson with Annie's song, John Denver? I've been thinking about teaching that one. It's such a pretty song. Annie's song is in 3/4 time, so I would probably use that picking pattern that I taught today. You Are My Sunshine, can you play that? Yeah, but I think I mentioned that my memory's terrible. Let's see. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Did you notice? I finger picked it. So there you go. I remembered the first part of it. You Are My Sunshine is a great song to learn because everybody knows it, and it's only got 3 or 4 chords depending on how you play it. Linda says your lessons are great. Thanks from the UK. Well, I'm glad you could tune in, Linda. Thank you very much. David says, thanks. I'm a Canadian in the US trying to get bandmates to incorporate some Canadian content, hence log drivers. Well, there's lots of Canadian content. I mean, Neil Young, Gordon Lightfoot, Joni Mitchell, Big Blue Sky, Tragically Hip. Introduce them to the Tragically Hip. I mean, Canada has some great music, so glad you're doing that. All right. Thanks for the lesson, Jamie. You're a wonderful teacher, and that's from Nisala. Thank you, Nisala. I appreciate that. I hope I pronounced your name right. Sanjavi says, great. You are very, very welcome. And let's play some more music. I'm going to review some of what I have talked about earlier. Let me grab my guitar. So let me move this a little bit. Gosh, I've got to fix this thing. Okay, let's try something else. It keeps wanting to swing around. This is what happens when you buy cheap stuff. Okay, so let's move this back a little bit so that you can see my hands. Yes, folks, this is live. My videos are a lot more polished because I can edit them. There we go. All right, so I mentioned earlier the Black Mountain pick. Here's what it looks like. It looks like a flat pick. It's got a little strap on the bottom. And this is really great if you're strumming and you're having a hard time holding on to the pick. And you can also use it for finger picking. So if you want to emphasize the bass note, you can use one of these picks. And it's cool if you want to go from finger picking to strumming. You can also do this with a regular thumb pick, which is what this one is here. Okay, and it gives you a little more emphasis on the bass note. Somebody asked about minor notes, minor chords rather. So for the A minor, the bass note for that would be the 5th string. For the E minor, it'd be the 6th string. If you want to know more about how to figure out the bass note, I have a video about that, how to find the bass note in a chord, I think is what I called it. So you can look that up if you want. So here's a review of the picking patterns that I have taught so far. The first one is 1 for 4/4, and it's bass 3 2 1, bass 3 2 1, and that pattern 2 times through is 1 measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then I also showed you the Travis pick. Remember, that's more about the timing. 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and then I have this one, which I call an intermediate picking pattern. I'll slow it down. Once again, I do have a handout that covers all these picking patterns. And if you go to the community section of my channel, you can download the worksheet from there. There's a link. I'll also post the link after I post the video for this live lesson, and you'll be able to get it from there. The other one that I showed you is 3/4 time. Bass 3 2 1 2 3, bass 3 2 1 2 3. So that works great for a lot of songs. Silent Night. Silent night, holy night. A little early for Christmas carols, but I just wanted to show you how well that works. So lots of choices here for finger picking. Again, different ways to do it. You can pick with the pads of your fingers. You can use finger picks. You can use fingernails. Lots of choices there. So let me grab my tablet and answer your questions. I do want to remind you that teaching music is what I do for a living. So if you can throw a donation my way, that would be surely appreciated. I have links below to my PayPal Me account. All you do is click on the link or you can buy me a coffee, which is only $3. And I would really appreciate your help. Buy one of my recordings if you want. If you have recently lost a job, or if you're on a limited income, of course you don't have to pay me, but it would be really great since, again, this is what I do for a living. So, country girl, love your lessons. Your friend from Africa, Ghana. Wow, such a long way away. Thank you, I appreciate that. Kay Crawford, is that Kay Crawford maybe? I love the live aspect, so genuine and down to earth. Thank you. I mean, what you see is what you get with me. I don't like teachers who have a very formal presentation, and that's for the birds. You want to have fun, right? You want to enjoy playing music, and I enjoy teaching. Lady Skellington, I second Linda. I couldn't get the finger picking till I saw one of your lessons. Well, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Now it makes much more sense now. Good. There's lots of people teaching on YouTube, and many of them are very good, but some of them are maybe great players, but not so great teachers. And I hope that I am a great teacher. I'm a good player, definitely, but I hope that I teach in a way so that especially beginners can pick up what I'm showing you. Linda says, I'm new to finger picking. Is it like strumming that you need to choose different picking patterns for different songs, or on the whole, can you stick to one pattern while learning? There are different patterns for different songs. It depends on what you want. If you want to sound like the artist, then there are definitely different picking patterns to choose from. But if you're just learning, I would suggest just learning 2 different patterns and using them for a song, depending on if the song is in 4/4 or 3/4. And I have a video called 2 picking patterns that will work for almost any song. And if you want to check that out, I give you some examples as well as teaching you 2 finger picking patterns that I've gone over also in this live lesson. And then once you get more comfortable with those picking patterns, then you can choose other ones to use for other songs. It does take a little while. It's like learning anything on an instrument, right? You play it over and over again until finally you've got it. Just play it slowly and accurately first before you speed it up. Linda says, by the way, so glad you mentioned bad memory. Makes me feel a lot better. I tell you, things fall out of my head on a regular basis. So I've got a music stand over here with all the patterns to make sure that I was consistent in teaching it to you. Colleen wants to know if there are other 3/4 picking patterns. Oh yeah, there's a ton of them. It's just that I didn't want to overload you all with too many picking patterns in one lesson. But this is a great one. So what I'm doing is I'm picking the bottom 2 strings at once. So it's bass, 3, and then 1 and 2, and then 3, 2, 3. One and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. But those are really more advanced. I think that if you stick to the picking patterns that I'm showing you here, then you can move on to those other ones. Oh, there's another one. You can also just pluck the strings. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll save that for another lesson and show you some different ones in 3/4 time. 3/4 time picking patterns also work for anything in 6/8. A lot of Irish music's in 6/8. So Manoj, can you show us placing the capo perfectly for finger picking? Capo, I've got a capo here somewhere. I have a whole lesson video on using a capo, so you might want to check that out. But placing a capo on a guitar just means getting it on there firmly so that you get clear sounding notes. You could put the capo almost on top of that metal bar and it'll still sound all right. What you don't want to do is stick it right on top of the bar. Then you end up with doink, and you don't want doink when you play. Word about capo, you usually have to retune because it'll pull the strings out of tune. Also with the capo, for those of you who used it, may have noticed already that when you use a capo, sometimes it pulls the guitar out of tune, so you might have to retune it once you use a capo. Capos are wonderful things. They help you change the key without changing the chord shape, so that's cool. Allison wants to know, what finger picking pattern would you use for The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert? You know, I love that song, but I haven't heard it for a while, so I'm not really sure what picking pattern would work for that. I think it's in 4/4, and if that's the case, then any one of those first 3 patterns would work. But I would have to hear the song. Sorry. Yeah, that's the thing about doing something live, is that I'm using both of my devices here, so I can't go to YouTube and look up the song real quick and tell you. So Colleen says, very cool. Thanks for being such a great teacher. Well, thank you, Colleen. I really appreciate that. So again, if you want to send a little extra my way through PayPal me or buy me a coffee, that would be awesome. But if you don't have the money, that's okay. I've got a new album. I should mention that. It's called Songs from Home, and I'll put a link underneath this video if you want. So I just want to mention Black Mountain picks again. So it's just like a flat pick attached to your thumb, and it gives you a bit stronger bass note. And one of the cool things that I like about these picks is that they fit. And I know that for a lot of you are like, well, of course they fit, but as a woman, I have been to way too many music stores to try to buy picks, and they're huge. And oftentimes there's some, this is going to sound ageist, but there's some kid behind the counter who goes, well, they're too big now, but you can boil them and then reshape them. It's like, you know, if I'm only spending a couple bucks on something, I would just simply like them to fit. You know, if I'm buying, I don't know, a set of dishes and I don't like the color, no one's going to tell me, well, they're easy to re-dye. No, they're not. But anyway, so these Black Mountain picks are, they come in different sizes. So if you have small hands, they will fit your hands. So let me just go over those picking patterns again. Bass, 3, 2, 1, bass, 3, 2, 1. And then there's also Travis picking. Bass, 3, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So just a second ago, you may have heard what sounded like a much sharper sound, and that was me accidentally using my nail. And that will give you a much different sound. And that's me plucking the strings, which I suppose could be considered a picking pattern. So, and again, you know, I teach ukulele too, and all this works on the ukulele. Ukulele kind of sounds like a harp when you finger pick it, I think. I think because they're nylon strings. That's another thing too. If you play a guitar with nylon strings, you probably want to finger pick with your bare fingers because you're going to get a better sound, a more mellower sound than using finger picks. Finger picks are generally only for people who play steel string guitars. So let's see if there's any more comments here, anything that I can answer. Rajesh says, hi, ma'am. Well, hi back to you. It's nice that there are people from all over the world. I'm broadcasting from Ottawa, Canada. It's a beautiful, sunny fall day. I know, it seems funny to think of fall. It seems too early for fall somehow. So finger picking can be used in a variety of ways. It can be used for slower songs, for ballads like House of the Rising Sun. There is a house in New Orleans, right? Or it can also be used for faster songs like The Boxer. I am just a poor boy, all my stories seldom told. Right? There's a very fast Travis pick in Dust in the Wind. So if you take a listen to that, you'll be able to hear the Travis picking in that. A lot of finger picking is used in folk music, but not exclusively. You know, you hear finger picking in all kinds of songs, a lot of rock ballads, and some really cool songs employ finger picking. So I do want to mention that I teach via Skype, but I have a long waiting list, and lately the people who are on the waiting list have been there for 3 or 4 months. And if you're one of those people, I apologize. It's just that the list is so long, it's really hard to get to everyone. Having said that, if you're interested in Skype lessons, you can contact me. And if you can't wait for 3 or 4 months, I can recommend some really great teachers who teach online. So what else can I mention? Super chat. If you want to super chat with me, that would be awesome. And I also have a PayPal link below this video in case you want to throw a little dough my way. So let me grab my tablet and see what else y'all are saying. Interested in baritone ukulele lessons. That's from Phoenix. I love the baritone ukulele, but I don't teach it because I don't own one. Also, baritone ukuleles are often tuned like guitars. So for me, I would just rather have a guitar. However, there are definitely some advantages to the baritone. It's a little smaller than a standard guitar, and it'll give you a slightly different sound. So I can teach baritone if you use a standard guitar tuning. And there's only four strings, so they're really great. If you've never played a stringed instrument before, I highly recommend starting on the ukulele. I think most of you are already guitar players, and that's cool too, but if you want to switch to another instrument, ukulele is pretty darn awesome. Rajesh says, I'm a big fan of you, ma'am. Your voice is so beautiful. Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I get compliments on my voice, which is great because, you know, I consider myself primarily a guitar teacher, but it pleases me that you enjoy hearing me too. If you do want some tips on singing, I have a video about that also that you can look for. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. There's a red button in the corner, or there will be, and I post new lessons about every week. I have a lesson series called 1 Minute Guitar, where I teach you something quick in just 1 minute, either one chord, one picking pattern, or I offer an important tip. And then I have longer videos. I usually post the longer videos on Mondays, and 1 Minute Guitar goes up on Wednesdays. I also have performance videos that I post. My most recent performance video was 6 Feet Away, which is from my new album, Songs from Home. So I will post a link to the handout for this lesson underneath this video. And if that doesn't work for you, or if I'm not able to do that for some reason, go to the community section of my channel and you'll see a link to the handout. And the handout I picks. And I also have the different picking patterns. I've also got a list of bass notes that you can use for different open strings. So let me go over those picking patterns again. So the first picking pattern is bass 3, 2, 1, bass 3, 2, 1, and 2 times through is 1 measure. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The other one is a Travis pick. So that's about the timing, really. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and that's for great songs like Blowin' in the Wind, Blackbird. And then the third one I taught you was this one. And then there was also the picking pattern in 3/4 time. Bass 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bass 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. And spit it up. So again, that one's good for Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. There you go. So there's 4 different picking patterns, different ways to play those picking patterns. And don't forget to look for the link for the handout and subscribe to my channel. It's really easy. I post new lessons every week. So let me see if I can catch any more questions or comments before I sign off. Phoenix says, I also have a guitar. I'm retired. Well, good. You can play all those instruments. Wouldn't that be fun? I hear from a lot of people who are retired and are just learning an instrument for the first time. And I think that's great. You are never too old to learn an instrument. My oldest student was in her 80s and she did just fine. So again, it's all about the practice and the attitude. Have a good attitude and keep practicing and you will learn. Micah says, could you tell me about the tenor guitar? The tenor guitar is either usually tuned to a C tuning or a G tuning. Mine is tuned to a C tuning, which is in fifths. It's kind of like a mandolin, only it's the strings are a little lower sounding. And I've played a tenor guitar in concert, but I don't teach it. If you want to see me play the tenor guitar, I have a James Taylor song that I recorded, and it's on my channel. Just look in the playlist that has my performances. That's about all I can tell you about the tenor guitar because I hardly know what to do with it myself. I just sort of fool around on it and have a lot of fun, but it's a lovely instrument. It really is. Anne says, thanks for the lesson. I got to play now. Yes, please play. All right, and Rajesh says, thank you, ma'am. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I so appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. That will be the red button in the corner. And thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you. Bye-bye.